citizens. Thanks for tuning in to Nindie Nation. I'm Jeff, and today on episode 130, we're taking a look at every indie game hitting the Nintendo Switch through the week ending December 26th. You can find Nindie Nation on Twitter, come chat with us on Discord, or check out the week's newest releases with us right here on YouTube every Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern during our Nindies Nite stream. And this week I'm giving out some free games, so be sure to stop by. Speaking of following me on Twitter, if you did, you may recall about 2 weeks ago when I claimed there would be an Indie World the following week. Well, sure enough, old Uncle Nindie called it, and on December 15th, we got a presentation with about 20 upcoming titles, and a few of them were shadow drops. So to kick off episode 130 of Nindie Nation, let's start by taking a look at the 7 neglected Nindies that released since episode 129. The first shadow drop of the Indie World presentation is a game that I have no idea what to make of. Let's Play Oink Games is a collection of board games with gameplay that falls somewhere between Mario Party and a Jackbox Party Pack. It's priced at $21.99, so I want to do some digging on how these games have fared critically, and I can't find anything. The various modes available look kind of fun, and it supports multiplayer for up to 8 players online or off. I just think it's weird that the description claims they've sold over 1 million copies, but I can't find a review anywhere. Am I crazy, or does something just feel weird about this one? Timelie made a strong impression though, and there's a demo available if you want to try it for yourself. It's an atmospheric stealth puzzle adventure where you control a wandering girl as well as her cat at the same time. It should look familiar to anyone used to playing the Metal Gear Solid VR missions, and brings with it a time control mechanic to keep things interesting. Timelie is developed by Ernique Studio and released from Zordix last year on Steam, where it earned very positive reviews. Go check out the demo, and if you're sold, you can pick up the full version for $19.99. The shadow drop that I was most interested in is a silly side-scrolling action RPG by Majaja and Chorus Worldwide Games called Dungeon Munchies, which released for $16.99 as well. As you explore the world, you'll gather all kinds of ingredients from enemies or the environment itself, and learn how to combine them into appetizing dishes. As you eat the food you create, your character's core abilities will change, giving Dungeon Munchies its primary differentiator. I hope to check this one out because it looks like simple fun with silly humor and an interesting mechanic to boot. Let me know if you want to see this one on Nindies Nite. Then we saw the release of an indie darling that's been sweeping people off their feet all year long as Chicory, a colorful tale, painted its way onto the eShop by way of Finji for $19.99. Playing as a top-down adventure, beloved artist Chicory has vanished, taking all the world's colors with them, and it's up to you to use your brush to solve puzzles, paint on anything in sight, and get to the bottom of where the missing artist has gone. I've already seen a few of the citizens picking this one up, and I'm very curious to hear what they and you happen to think of this one. Beyond those shadow drops, we had 3 traditional neglected Nindies this week, including Circa Infinity Ultimate Edition, which launched by Kenny Sun and Red Deer Games. With a stated price of $10.99, it is a bit unnerving to see the game launch with a 90% discount in tow. But with the simplistic gameplay loop, the sale price seems about right. As you can tell, the game is trippy as hell, where you run around the perimeter of a circle, dodging enemies, and work your way to the middle to move to the next layer. Basically a high score chaser in the most traditional sense, but with a very untraditional style.
File Mechanism
also released, this one releasing by returning publisher Phoenix with a redonkulous price of $16.99. And that's with a discount. It's a retro puzzle platformer with Game Boy-style graphics that seems inspired by Donkey Kong 94. You use a record and restore feature that I couldn't really grasp in the trailer provided, but it looks fun. Just have no idea why it's so damn expensive. And then last up on the neglected Nindies list is a cute little Metroidvania that I just might be picking up. Developed by Francis Vase and yet another published by Red Deer Games, Trash Quest puts you in the, fur of a raccoon that is aboard a space station. There's only one place to spawn from if you fail, but as you progress through the game, you'll unlock all of the abilities and weaponry you'd expect from an exploration platformer. Plus, its retro-inspired visuals are simple yet very well implemented. Another one that launched with an 80% discount, must be a Red Deer Games thing. At only $2, I might give this one a shot. Are there any here that you're giving a shot? Did you already pick up any of the shadow drops? Let me know down in the comments. As is expected, Christmas week is generally pretty slow on the eShop, but there are still a couple of potential diamonds in the rough. Unfortunately, the shovelware developers have decided to take a dump all over Christmas Day, I assume to ensure anyone loading up the eShop for the first time will see their garbage atop the list. But don't fret, because we'll take them to task. These are the 13 games hitting the Nintendo Switch through Sunday, December 26th. On Monday, December 20th, Glass Cannon Studio releases their twin-stick shooter Carebots for $18.99. It takes the traditional twin-stick top-down model and adds all kinds of mobility and gravity options into the mix, while turning it into a Metroidvania of sorts as well. Pretty cool, but for $18.99, I think I'll wait for reviews, unless, of course, maybe we can try it on Nindies Nite. On Wednesday, December 22nd, we get another top-down style game, but Gardener's Path leans further towards the puzzle genre. Developed by Viradino Studios, previously known as Green Dinosaur Games, who released Duck Souls and Pinkman, Gardener's Path looks very promising. You must protect your garden from insects across 60 stages, and while it's labeled as a puzzle game, when I look at the combat, I'm definitely picking up some turn-based vibes. It's published by Ratalaika Games and releases for only $4.99, so stay tuned because I want to give this one a try. The big Thursday drop kicks off on December 23rd with the game that I'm simultaneously most excited for this week, while also being a bit skeptical. See, Tunnel of Doom is an action roguelite hybrid taking place during the gold rush of the early 1900s. You play as a woman trying to save her husband from the depths of a mining tunnel, and you do so by loading up and setting out into said tunnel, boring deeper with each run while surrounded by all the elements of a Nindie trifecta. So, what's with my skepticism? Well, if you can't tell already, this game looks alarmingly similar to either Undermine or Moonlighter. Like, to the extent that if you told me the assets were copied and pasted directly, I'd probably believe you. What makes Tunnel of Doom interesting, though, is that developer Antivihia has created a tower defense element of sorts, and that part looks really fun. Instead of just top-down action RPG combat, you also have to set up traps in each room before warding off the enemies. Being published by Digerati gives me hope that the game will deliver, and $13.99 isn't asking too much, so I look forward to giving Tunnel of Doom a try, and I hope that after a few minutes of gameplay, the visual similarities fade away as gameplay takes hold. Besides, if nothing else, it's always good to have a game that comes chock full of procedurally generated dungeons, roguelike mechanics, and RPG elements! Keeping with the theme of games that I'm looking forward to, and you'll see why in a minute, Thursday also brings the release of a game that just looks downright fun. East Asia Soft publishes Terratopia by Ravgan, and at only $9.99, this 3D brawler-type game reminds me of a fun weekend rental from back in the PS2 and GameCube era.
That's a compliment, by the way.
With a colorful and gross in the funny sort of way tone, you play as one of 3 different alien things and explore 13 worlds full of things for you to punch. There's some light RPG elements with character skill classes and visual customization, but other than that, Terratopia appears to be button-mashy, silly fun. As with the other 3 games mentioned thus far, I'll throw this on the docket for potential Nindies Nite games. Okay, now that we've got a few of the promising titles under our belt, the rest for this week is, not so promising. Game music with a Christmas slant, go. Kairosoft is back, and while they've re-released the same game a million times over on the eShop, Beastie Bay DX tasks you with developing a deserted island, but also throws in some monster collecting and basic retro turn-based RPG combat. So they're actually kinda doing something new? It's $14 even, like all of their other games, and I would definitely wait for reviews if you're even remotely interested. Apparently, Windstorm is a, quote,
successful movie and book series
about a girl and her horse. Windstorm, Start of a Great Friendship, is a game about a girl and her horse. The bulleted feature list includes riding the horse, interacting with the horse, and grooming the horse. It's developed by Acer Interactive, published by Mindscape for
$30 freaking.
And while the fruit certainly hangs low, I can't help but say this game looks like quite the shitstorm. On Friday the 24th, as Christmas Eve settles in across the world, we see the emergence of a new publisher, but the debut titles from Furiosoft Phoenix are most likely the lumps of coal set aside for only the worst children. Pure Chase 80s claims to be an arcade racer, but it looks more like a $15 game engine demo. But maybe that's not fair because they released another game this week, with their other title being Merry Christmas Snowball Bubble for $5.99. Let's see here. Let's give it a chance. Nope, it's just a shitty bust-a-move. Remember last week when Super Power-Up Games released a bland billiards game called 9-Ball Pocket? This week they jacked up the price, released 8 and 9-Ball Pocket, and I'm not even gonna read to learn what's different about it. Onteca is the last to jump on the Christmas Eve bandwagon, and I don't even know what to make of the following sentence.
Brain training with the alphabets Sudoku.
What the hell does that even mean? Crazy Zen code word is $10 that would almost certainly be better spent elsewhere. And then on Christmas Day, we've got two developers who think they're more important than Jesus, and with the intelligence required to build what they're putting out into the world, neither come as a surprise. Naptime Games is hoping their $10 quiz game will entice people booting up their brand new Switch for the very first time, but hopefully very few people are swayed by Planet Quiz Learn and Discover. And you know who else is stealing the spotlight from Santa and Jesus?
Game National!
Because, of course they are. And they're putting America in its place with American Man for $9.99. If you ever wanted to see what Contra would look like if it was developed by a monkey crossbred with a pig, well, here you go. Also, don't Google that image. I did, and, don't. And finally, Half Face Games partners with Turnox to release Cold Silence for $4.99. It's a janky platformer with a surreal spookiness that is very off-putting. If the game looked better, I might give it a try, but it's hard to see where the fun could be in this title. But hey, at least we got the week started with a few interesting titles and a bevy of Indie World shadow drops, so there should be plenty of new Nindies worth considering. Let me know in the comments what stood out to you and if you'd like to see any of them on Nindies at Night. After the Indie World last week, we saw a massive sale hit the eShop, with a lot of games besting even their Black Friday specials. And most of these are live through the end of the year. So let's round out today's episode by taking a look at our picks for 9 of the best Nindie deals at their lowest prices ever through at least December 26th. Shing was a game featured in our Best Indies from the first half of 2021 video, and if you like arcade-style brawlers, you gotta pick this one up. At 70% off for only $5.99, Shing delivers a deep, rewarding combat system with 4 playable characters that tells an interesting and humorous story while building on the genre's basics to create what they call the Brawler 2.0. I love this game. If the twin-stick combat control scheme doesn't work for you, rest assured you can play it like a traditional brawler and still have a great time on your own with up to 4 players local or online. A frequent entry in our deals lists is the Valfaris and Slain double pack, and this week it reached its lowest price ever, $11.99. In this pack, you get 2 gory, heavy metal-infused 2D action games with slight Metroidvania inspiration. Slain is pretty good and definitely worth trying, but Valfaris is one of the best in the genre, and as long as you can handle the tone, is one I consider a must-play. If you're taking time off for the holidays and you want a game that will cause the hours to just melt away, you can't go wrong with Torchlight 2 when it's 75% off for $4.99. This game is a massive, lighthearted take on Diablo with seemingly infinite content, tons of character classes, and more dungeon-crawling goodness than you could hope to ask for. And if over the break you're planning to have some friends over, make sure to check out Moving Out while it's 75% off for $6.24. One of Nindie Nation's favorite games of 2020, Moving Out takes the premise of multiplayer games like Overcooked and wraps it around physics puzzles based on moving boxes and furniture. It's super silly and is guaranteed to have you yelling at and laughing with anyone who sits on the couch to play it with you. Puzzle platformers usually aren't for everyone, but over the summer we checked one out during Nindies Nite that I would argue just might be. Super Magbot is a 2D entry in the genre that has you manipulating magnets to propel you away or pull you toward the next step in solving that room's puzzle. It's a tight, well-designed game that's fun at any skill level, and it never overstays its welcome. With a whopping 89% discount, $1.99 makes Super Magbot an easy recommendation. At the end of 2020, we saw the release of Monster Sanctuary, and it was immediately praised for being a fun, fluid action RPG with a hearty dose of Pokemon-like monster collecting and battling. It seemed to come and go for many, but there were more than a few citizens in the Nindie Nation community who really dug this genre mashup. At 66% off for $6.79, I think more of you should give it a try. And speaking of games beloved by Nindie Nation citizens, Blasphemous seems to pop up every time it's on sale, and now that it's all the way down to $6.24, I think I'm finally biting the bullet, y'all. This gothic 2D mashup of Metroidvania and Dark Souls presents a sprawling castle to explore alongside methodical dodge and parry based combat. If you're on the fence, the demo is quite generous with content, so you should be able to get a good feel for the game before you decide to take advantage of its 75% discount. And then just for good measure, let's wrap up the week with a couple Nindie trifectas. Sparklight is one of my favorite entries in this genre because it plays most like an old-school Zelda game and is one of the rare games of its kind that actually wants to tell a story that you'll see through to its end. If you're new to roguelike games, I think Sparklight is a great place to start because it's a very familiar type of game that throws in just a little bit of procedurally generated levels, roguelike mechanics, and RPG elements. With a touching story, gorgeous visuals, an excellent soundtrack, and a roughly 9-hour runtime, Sparklight will keep you busy and leave you satisfied. Check it out while it's 75% off for just $6.24. And the last deal we'll cover before Santa comes to visit is Rogue Heroes Ruins of Tassos, which released earlier this year and is already half off for $9.99. Think of this one as a similar top-down Zelda-like, but with a heavy emphasis on multiplayer. In fact, that's almost exactly what it is, multiplayer 2D Zelda, but with RPG systems. If that speaks to you, Rogue Heroes definitely delivers everything we love about procedurally generated dungeons, roguelike mechanics, and RPG elements. There are so many other great games on sale right now, over 1,100 actually. Crown Trick, Greek, and Rumbo, the wonderful multiplayer party game featuring a who's who of indie game characters. It's only $3. If you don't have Runbo, add it to your collection. It's my favorite multiplayer game outside of Smash Brothers, but it's far more accessible. What are you picking up? See anything else on sale we should call out? Let me know down in the comments. And hey, keep those nominations coming. If you haven't submitted your 3 favorite Nindies and 3 favorite Nindie deals of 2021 yet, do it down in the comments. Of course, you can also share your list with us on Discord, so if you've yet to join us, come on by. Links to everything are in this episode's description. Also, don't forget to swing by on Thursday. I have no idea what we'll be playing yet, but I'm certain we'll have a great time on Nindies at Night, right here on YouTube at 10 p.m. Eastern. As far as next week goes, there's only 3 games currently slated for release, so if the pickings are truly that slim, we might not have our regular show. Will we have something different? Will we have a deals video? Will we have a secret unannounced video? You'll just have to wait and see. I actually have no idea yet. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing Nindie Nation with others all throughout 2021. And Merry Christmas to all of you who celebrate. Until next time, I'm Jeff. This has been Nindie Nation episode 130. And remember, no matter what type of game you're looking for, Nindie Nation will be right here to help you find just the thing to keep your Joy-Cons synced.